The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Your turn on 1330 WEBY, Northwest Florida's talk radio. The phone lines are open, so call in and join the conversation at 623-1330.
If Carl doesn't talk about it, it probably won't be talked about. Aren't you glad that he is on the air and back in the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio? Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, 1330 WEBY.
All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. And welcome back, Mike Zulu. Thank you for taking an hour and a half of your time today, Mike. And the phone lines are still jammed, and I'm getting texts. And, Mike, I want to deal with this text. I got a text from a friend of mine who is a judge, and I've got three friends in the local area that are judges that I communicate with pretty regularly. And this judge is listening, and he wants to know, can you very quickly speak to the paper trail of the posted PDF file on the White House site, and do we have any idea of where that PDF came from? Is there any computer digital trail?
What we know is the computerized image was sitting in a Mac computer. We know it was in a program called Preview 20 minutes before it was uploaded to the White House server. The problem that we ran into is Preview has a capability of erasing what's called the metadata, or the computerized language that the previous program was used to do whatever it needed to do. It wipes that clean. However, there were remnants of data there, and we do believe that two programs were used, Illustrator and I believe it was Paint Shop may have been used on the program.
Okay.
So we know that the program was compiled through a variety of different programs. Maybe it was Photoshop. I think Photoshop was the program, the first one used. It was compiled through a variety of different programs, pieced together for different reasons through those programs, which I don't want to get into.
Right.
But ultimately, it was sitting 20 minutes before in a Mac computer in Preview. We know that for sure.
Okay. Do we, and you may not be able to answer this, I'm not sure, but do we know approximate location of that computer? Do we know maybe what state or what office, or what do we know about that?
We don't know. We don't know we don't know where the computer was. We don't know where the location of the upload took place. All we know is it was uploaded to a secure server, a government server, the White House server.
Okay, all right.
So common logic would bring you back to who pressed the upload button, and how did that guy get the program, and how did the guy before him get the program, and you could just work this thing backwards eventually.
Right.
You would come to the answers.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, listen, we got about 6 or 7 minutes on this side of the next break, and we've got the phone lines jammed, and people have some really good questions, so let me go to the next caller. The next caller up, his name is Carl. You know, Mike, what about all these people named Carl and Michael today?
I think it's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. It's got to be. But, Carl, welcome to Freedom Friday. You want to talk about the media ignoring this topic, and I know that Mike Zulu wants to...
Mike, I've known this guy was a fraud since 2007, thanks to Phil Berg, the attorney from Pennsylvania, Democrat, by the way. So my question to you is, we saw what happened to Lou Dobbs when he started talking about this issue. So maybe that's the answer. But why are the radio rhinos, is what I call them, like Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, especially Bill O'Reilly, Mark Levin, and others, why are they so afraid of this?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carl. Mike, you and I have talked about this for hours on end. I wish that I could answer it, but you're the one they want to hear, so go for it.
Well, I think Carl got it right on the very first sentence that he said that there's fear, there's threats.
Yep.
We know that we received information early on that certain VIPs of radio were threatened by the administration and that they wanted this dropped. We do know that the minute the birth certificate was put out on the White House website, within 24 hours, this national topic had stopped.
Yeah.
We do know that the threats were so severe that one individual fled the country for fear of her and her child. So we know that there were threats. The other side of that question, I'm not in the mind of these people, but if we take the threat equation out, you really have to start to ask yourself, why are these people not addressing this? Because if they really believe that this is a non-issue, I would have to pause at everything they tell me from that point forward.
Yeah. And I've also said to the media, look, if you think this is a non-issue, then Arpaio and Zullo are sitting ducks to be made fools of. Go after them. Investigate their investigation. Investigate their information. And, Mike, we can't give away anything here too big, but the people who've taken us up on it have come over to your camp after they've examined the evidence, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Carl. People have seen it now. People that are prominent have seen it, and when they're done seeing it, there is only one conclusion.
Absolutely, which is why you and I are not giving up on this. We're screaming it from the rooftops. And, folks, I'm going to say what Mike and I have said. This will not go away. It will not go away. We will continue to push this until it is brought forward to the world. Now, that might be 2 weeks from now. It might be 2 months from now. It might be 2 years. It might be 20 years. But we're not going to let it go away. I'm not. Are you, Mike?
No, I have no plans, and I don't believe the sheriff has any plans of that either.
No, because it's so big, folks, because it's so big. Now, again, I'm going to speak for Mike Zullo. If somebody presents 100% legally verifiable evidence tomorrow that what Mike has and what I have and what Sheriff Arpaio has, if what we have is invalidated, we will declare that from the rooftops as well, because all we want is the truth. Listen, we've got time for one more caller. Very quickly. Amy, you want to ask if Mike's been talking with other sheriffs? Go ahead, Amy.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much, first of all. Sorry to take you away from your Cheerios on this matter.
She must have been listening.
I can imagine, you know.
You're going to have to make it quick, Amy.
It's a surprise to take you away from your Cheerios, and then you find this, right? I just want to ask, have you presented this issue to other law enforcement agencies? I would think that it might be effective to go sideways on this and present it to other, I'm sure there's a sheriff's organization.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. And we've got to cut you off. Hey, Mike, we've got 60 seconds. Can you answer it then, or do you want to hold over to the other side of the room?
I can answer it really quick.
Go ahead.
The problem, Amy, with going sideways in this is you start running into a lot of political agendas. Not every sheriff is elected like Sheriff Arpaio. Some are appointed in places. But that being the case, you run into a lot of politics, and we're trying to cut a clear path.
Right.
Now, there are sheriffs that I know want to hear what we have to say, and we'll make those plans accordingly. But we, right now, are in possession of the criminal evidence, and we would rather keep it that way and move the way that we're moving currently.
Brilliant answer, Mike. Thank you so much. Folks, you're listening to the voice there of Mike Zullo, the commander of the Arpaio Cold Case Posse.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.